Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. I was going to say good morning, Vietnam, but I don't know, maybe morning in Vietnam. But good evening to everybody that's joining in on this live stream, and I do appreciate it. As the title of this video says, let's talk about why some of these big YouTubers are not talking about the Osmo Action 3 focus issue. And it was a bit concerning, and I want to backpedal just a little bit. So I did these videos about the DJI Action 3, and the reason that I did them was because I came across this little issue, and I was trying to test it to see, okay, what exactly is it going on? Is it just the minimum focus distance that's a problem? So instead of 30 centimeters, you need to be 60 centimeters. So with some of the testing that I did, and in the videos that I did, you could see that there was definitely a focus issue with the Action 3. And it just wasn't close focus, it was distant focus. So everything in the background was also just a tad bit blurry. And I started thinking to myself, okay, so what could it be? What's causing this issue with the DJI Action 3? I'm looking at the screen here because it looks like my camera is a bit off here. Let me stretch this out a bit. There we go. Looks a little bit better. And I apologize for the little, I don't know if you can see on this side right there, the little lines that are happening. It didn't happen earlier when I was doing a test run, but it is what it is. So let me pop up the chat window again. Every time you mess with OBS, I'm thinking about doing StreamYard, by the way, for some of these live streams, because I can get guests on, and that's something I'd like to do, because I would like to get Alan from Sound Speeds into a live stream, since he got to play with that one piece of footage that you saw in the video where he used DaVinci Resolve just to see could he sharpen it. Now, when he did that video, that was before DJI released their update on the 14th, I believe it was. And I had already set my camera back on the 13th. I had enough of it. In my opinion, now this is just my opinion, DJI, they may prove me wrong, and they may come out with a firmware update that fixes everything. And then I'll have to eat crow. And if that's the case, I'll eat crow. But I don't think that that's the case. And then the one video where I made the video where I took the, and by the way, if you're wondering what the camera was, it was an Akaso V50 Pro. I took it apart to show you how the lens assembly works and how you have to screw it in just a certain amount of distance to get the focus just right, because the back of the lens element has to be a certain distance from the sensor. That's like with, let's say, the Sony ZV-E10. If for some reason a lens manufacturer, let's say Viltrox, and by the way, this is a great lens, but let's say that they had the rear lens element a little bit too far back or a little bit too far forward, it would affect the focus. Now, yes, with that camera, with the Sony ZV-E10, you can actually do manual focus on it and compensate and fix it. With a fixed focus lens, you can't do that. And my biggest concern was, okay, so this all started back with Ian Craig. So Ian Craig got his really early. When I ordered mine on the release date, it said 2-day shipping. And then all of a sudden, it pops up after I make the order that you have to wait till whatever date was, and then you'll get it. So it was like a 2.5-week wait before I had to get mine. So Ian Craig had gotten his early, since he's in the UK. And when he got his, he noticed that there was a focus problem. And he had communicated with me via email about this focus issue. So I was already kind of heads up on it. But of course, me, like I'm sure all of you, have looked at review videos, and you look at some of the big channels out there, and it kind of bothered me a little bit, because there was a lot of people that were commenting on my videos saying, well, and I'm not going to name any big YouTubers. The ones that I do name are the ones that I consider big. If you have 100,000 And it's not that 70,000 is not a big channel, but if you have 100,000 plus subscribers, you're a pretty big channel, at least in my eyes. There's a couple channels out there that did mention the focus issue with the Osmo Action, well, the DJI Action 3. But Ian Craig reached out to me, so of course I did some testing and noticed it right off the bat, and then I was trying to fix it. And between looking at all these larger YouTube channels and them just praising how great it was, and it was, that between the GoPro Hero 11 Black, which one, should you get? This one's got strong points here, this one's got strong points there. But they never made a comment about the focus. So I'm sitting there on my 4K monitor, and I'll blow up the screen, I'm looking at it, and all of their Action 3 footage was all out of focus. So I went ahead and made a comment on two of the big YouTubers' channels about the focus issue. And I even timestamped what I thought was out of focus. Because I'm sure that when they're doing their edits, they're looking at it just like I would if I'm editing a video, and they've maybe, I don't know, maybe they skipped over it or didn't really pay close attention. And I'm not talking about pixel peeping to where you're just looking at an image and you're trying to find a flaw. That's not what I was looking for. But when I looked at their videos, you could see the focus was off. It was very soft. Then DJI, they come out with this firmware update supposed to fix this issue. They admit that there's a parameter or out of specs, some internal parameter. Why don't you just say that the lens is not calibrated correctly? Well, I guess they can't admit that, but they say that they can fix it. So a buddy of mine, Matt, he's got the Action 3. He already downloaded the update, said I could use it. I said I just want to do a quick little test with it, tested it against the Brave 8. And in that video, you could see that the Brave 8 was sharper and it's cleaner and the focus is right on point. The Action 3, the focus was not on point. And that's even with the firmware update. And all that they did with the firmware update, in my humble opinion, is that they just added some sharpening. So when you add sharpening, and I'd said in that one video, can sharpening help an image? Yes. So, and I'll qualify that. So there was a time early on where I would shoot 1080p video with the Canon M50, which is what I'm using right now. I was going to use the Sony ZV-E10, but it will only live stream at 720, which to me is kind of odd. So I wanted to go 1080. But anyway, 1080 video with the Canon M50. And I would add 10% sharpening to it and upscale it to 4K. And it looked perfectly fine on YouTube, even on a 4K monitor. You zoom in, you'll see that it's not a true 4K image, but at least it's in focus. So that's what we're talking about today, is focus. So back to my story. So I am making two comments with this channel, Andre Worth It or Not, or Worth It or Not live stream podcast. And I timestamped, hey, is it out of focus? Did you notice anything out of focus? You know what happened? They deleted my comments. They banned me from the channel. Why? I'm just asking a question. I didn't call them out on it. I didn't say, hey, you're just a paid person from DJI and you're covering this up. No, I just asked a simple question and it got deleted. And I tried to make another comment and my comment doesn't show up. That means I've been banned or hide user from the channel. Is what it is. But it bothered me a little bit, and it bothered me to the point, well, it did not a little bit, it bothered me enough to make this live stream video. So it's really interesting to me. And by the way, if you have any comments or questions or anything, please put them in a little comment section, because I do have the, or not in the comment section, in the chat window. I do have the chat window pulled up so I can actually see the chats. But it bothered me enough to make this live stream because I thought, You know, when you've got channels out there that have 200, 500, 800, a million subscribers, that's a million people that look to you for your honest opinion about a product. And yes, you can get commission sales, you can get your affiliate sales when you promote a product. That's everybody knows about that. But why can't you just say that there's certain things that don't wash? So there's channels like, and I will name this channel because this channel, Michael from Tech for All, he says the pros and the cons. And if it's a con, he mentions it straight out. You get people, you know, and I appreciate that. And that's what this channel was actually founded on. Not this channel in particular, because this is a live stream channel, but the main channel, it was founded on the whole basis of letting you, the consumer, know if an item is worth it or not. And when these companies send me something, there's no strings attached. If they try to attach strings, I ask them, would you like to be a sponsor? Here's my sponsorship rate. And I will still have the latitude to be able to tell my opinion. But if you're going to tell me what to say and everything, I mean, I had one company that sent me a dash camera, and I explained right off the bat, no strings attached. I get to say my honest review of it, right? And if it's great, it's great. And if it has some issues, I will always get with the manufacturer first to say, hey, is there a firmware update that you can do? But other than that, so, you know, I get to say my peace of mind. Well, this company came back to verify that I got the product. And I said, yes, I sent you an email yesterday verifying that the product arrived. And they gave me this list in this email of all these things that I must talk about, how I've got to talk about it, and not say anything negative about the product. And that irritated me. It irritated me because I made clear in the beginning of the emails exchange that that's not the way that I operate. You let me just do my review, right? And I will do an honest review of it. So I told them to send me a prepaid label and then we'll ship it back. And they told me, well, just keep it if you're not going to do a review. And it's like, no, I'll do a review on it, but just not on your terms. So back to the Action 3. What do I wish that these channels would do? And I want to take my hat off and say congratulations to all the smaller channels out there. And there's, when I say smaller channels, it could be a channel with 1,000 subscribers, 700 subscribers, 20,000, 40,000 subscribers, 60,000. But in the big scheme of things, one of the smaller channel. But I take my hat off to all of the smaller channels out there that actually say it like it is. When you get to the point of, like, you get on a DJI's forum. So if you Google DJI Action 3 forums, the first pop-up that's on Google, that's the one that you want to click. It's turned into a circus in there. And I understand that there's people that are fanboys, and let it be. They're fanboys. And they want to say, oh, there is no focus issue. It's like I had one guy that was complaining about, not in the forums, but on my video, saying, it's an action camera. It's meant for sports. It's not a vlogging camera. Who cares if it's out of focus when you're holding it close? Well, if it wasn't meant for vlogging, and now let's say this one caveat, and that goes for GoPro or for the DJI Action 3. If it wasn't meant for vlogging, why would they put a front-facing screen on it? Think about that for just a moment. Why would you put a front-facing screen on an action camera if it's not meant for you to compose yourself in that shot and talk to the camera? So when you have channels that delete your comments, and I mean, have I deleted comments before? Sure. Have I hidden users from the channel? Absolutely. If you have a little snarky comment, I'm okay with that. I mean, you know, you had a bad day, you need coffee like what I'm drinking right now. Then you had a bad day and maybe it didn't come out the way that you intended. But if you're being an a-hole, I I don't have time for it, and I don't allow it. That's not the kind of atmosphere that I want to have for the channel. If you don't like my videos, don't watch them. I mean, pretty simple. So the DJI Action 3, and there's something that I've got to say about DJI, and it bothers me a little bit, and I told Alan about it from Sound Speeds. So if you didn't know, DJI has this thing, Sky Pixel, where for about a month or so, they were actually offering, hey, if you want to be able to get our products before release to review them with the understanding that you have to send it back, you cannot keep the item, you can apply. So I applied. And I put up my first Action 3 video regarding the focus problem. And that morning I gotten an acceptance. Congratulations, blah, blah, blah. This is our terms, right? And the next day I got an email saying, we're sorry, you no longer qualify for the Sky Pixel program. Feel free to, submit your application again in the future. So I kind of took that as, okay, that's DJI kind of telling me a big screw you to me. And, you know, it's a shame because it's not that I don't like DJI, because I really do. All of my drones, I can't tell you how many thousands and thousands of dollars I have invested in DJI products. And I don't care if it's not what you did before, it's what you're doing now. So if you come out with a product and it's got some issues with it, you've got to be able to own it. And GoPros, I've got GoPro Hero 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and now the new 11. GoPro didn't send them to me. I bought them out of my own pocket. But I like GoPro products. Some of them have had some issues. If they have an issue, I call it out. I mean, you didn't see one big YouTube channel talk about the audio popping issue with the GoPro Hero 9. Not a one. They all praised it. And then GoPro, what did they do in their forums? They said, well, after investigation, we're going to have to, just to tell you, the end user, to warm up the camera, turn it on, let it warm up, wait 2 minutes, and then you can start recording, and the audio popping issue should go away. That's not the use of an action camera. I mean, that's not even a use for a mirrorless camera. I mean, if my Sony a7S III, if I had to turn it on and wait 2 minutes for it to warm up before I could use it, I wouldn't keep it. I'd send it back. It's not doing the job at hand. So I have no problem with, you know, I don't want to bash a company. I want that to be clear. I never want to bash a company, because they do come out with products. And it's like GoPro, they come out with some very innovative products. Excuse me. DJI comes out with a lot of innovative products. I was really looking forward to the Action 3. I mean, the Action 1 I thought was a great camera. One thing I got to say, though, about the Action, the original Osmo Action, when it first came out, the Rocksteady was unbelievable. I did one video test where I think I had a GoPro Hero 6 strapped on my chest, and then I had the GoPro Hero 7 and the original Osmo Action 1 next to each other, and I was tilting the board left and right, left and right. Osmo Action didn't do anything. It was just, it was like horizon leveling. And then they did some updates, and then, you know, the image quality got better. There was more features added, but the stabilization was not as good as what it was before. So I was really looking forward to what the Action 3 was going to bring to the market. I mean, really, really excited. So excited that as soon as I saw the announcement video, I went straight to DJI and I ordered it. That's how quick. I wouldn't do that if I was a hater. And by the way, GoPro Hero 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I still have them. I still have everything that I buy, I keep. It's not like I buy stuff and then just return it just so I can buy something, review it, and then send it back because I'm bored. Because I think that's bad karma. If you buy something, unless it's a faulty product, you send it back. I sent the Action 3 back. I do have some notes here that I wanted to try to keep myself on track It's been a crazy busy day today for a Sunday, between basketball games and volleyball games yesterday and basketball practice today. Not for me, for my daughter. It's been a pretty busy day. But I wanted to kind of keep in the, God, the weather's been beautiful today. Tomorrow, monsoon hits. Supposed to be 100% chance of thunderstorms. But I'm going to get to the chat here real quick. But there's something I want to say. Okay, so there's two channels that I really admire. And I want you to think about this, because if you've been on YouTube and you watch these reviews, these are probably two channels that you know of already. One of them is iPhonedo, Farouk. So iPhonedo has done a lot of DJI reviews. A lot of drones. He did the Pocket 2, the original Osmo Action. So you kind of get the idea. He didn't do a review of the Action 3. I'm pretty sure that DJI would have sent him the Action 3, because he's been a long time, I don't know if you want to call it collaborator or partner with DJI, but he didn't review the Action 3. I don't know this for fact, strictly speculation on my part, but I think that he probably got the camera, noticed the focus issue right off the bat, alerted them. They probably sent him a beta firmware, which is like what they were sending everybody. He probably tested it, said, still, rather than saying, okay, because iPhonedo will talk about bad things about an item, or things that, need a little bit of work. But this is the channel, this next channel is the one that I so wish that he would get into action camera reviews, because, and everybody knows, or you should know this guy, Gerald Undone. He does camera reviews. He does them to a point to where it is so methodical on how he reviews these cameras. And guess what? He'll do a Sony camera review like the A7 IV. And he talked about all the great features of the A7 IV. But then he also mentioned, but it's got terrible rolling shutter. And my A7 IV does have terrible rolling shutter. But for me, for a locked off shot, it's perfect. But can you imagine Gerald Undone actually doing a product review of an action camera and getting the DJI Action 3? He would have ripped them to shreds regarding the focus. And he may have come up with some different ideas of what the issue is. Although I'm pretty sure that I'm correct. I had somebody comment that he's got some inside information from somebody at DJI that the lens itself, the housing, and the sensor are all in one, and they got it from a third-party manufacturer. Now, keep in mind, I can't corroborate any of this, so, I don't want to be fake news, but that they got it from a third-party vendor. And it could be that that vendor didn't calibrate the lens correctly. And of course, DJI, they're going to come out with this product. They need, 50,000, 100,000 of them. So they got this batch and they didn't do any quality control of it and sent them out. So I'd asked him if you would kind of keep in contact with me and let me know. And it's not to throw DJI under the bus, but I want to be able to verify that my thought process regarding the lens assembly was correct. And if it's correct, okay, so I was right. If it's not the lens assembly and it's how the lenses, because some of these action camera lenses will have 7 lenses or 6 lenses or 9 lenses inside of that little plastic housing. So you got the front lens element itself, and then you've got the rear lens element, which is usually the IR cut filter is the last one. And you have the groupings of it. Maybe the groupings were incorrect. I don't know. Considering that the Action 3 has got this new sensor, this larger sensor, maybe, I don't know, maybe the lens wasn't calibrated correctly for the sensor. Maybe they should have went with a different lens. Let's see. I'm going by my notes now. because I don't want to make this a really long, drawn out live stream. But you know what? Before I get to my notes, let me get to some of the chats. Okay, so Jeff Winters. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing, sir? And then I got Tom A.K. Tom, nice to hear that in Chicago you got some really good weather, because it's going to change pretty drastically really quick. Let's see. How am I doing? Did Tamara ever say anything soft? I don't know, Tom, if that was for me or for someone else. See, Arturo Richardson, let's hope. Hello, Arturo. Hello, Tom. Jeff Winters, is possible to fix. Just takes a while. You have to have the right tools to set the focus. That's very true, Jeff. Like I showed in that one video, usually they use some type of epoxy or super glue. I don't want to say super glue because super glue will emit fumes, and those fumes can actually leave a glaze over on the glass or the surrounding plastic, and you don't want to have that happen because God forbid you get that little haze glaze. My daughter would love that rhyme. A little haze glaze over a sensor, because then that would just ruin it. So I'm sure some kind of epoxy that they put around the thread. So once they set the focus, and like I did it with that video of the Acaso V50 Pro, I stick in a micro HDMI, stick it into my computer, turn on the camera. Actually, I use OBS, which is what I'm using right now. And I just turn it until focus is set. And then I do a distance and then check it back and forth. And then I'll do a couple of video shots, and then I'll pixel peep to make sure that it's in focus. So yes, you know, I've heard, and I did see one video where somebody actually took apart the Osmo Action 1 to get to the lens, because for some reason, I think, if memory serves me correct, they had an accident. They broke the outer screw lens. No. Their camera fell. The outer screw lens did not break, but I guess the inner lens with the dome had hit the outer lens and it cracked it. So he was going to try to replace it. So he took it all apart, and come to find out, it's 11 millimeter thread instead of a 12 millimeter, which is what you can find on eBay. So I'm sure that it can be fixed, Jeff. It's just that, you know, with my luck, because I'm not going to say who it was, but a friend of mine had said, hey, why don't you take it apart, man? That'd be a great video. Take the Action 3 apart, show how you fix the focus on it, and if you can turn the focus lens, right, and if it does fix it, wow, man, what a great video that's going to be. And I'm like, yeah, knowing my luck, I'm going to take it apart, and I don't have a problem with it not being waterproof anymore. I just have a problem with me damaging something. And then I've got a $329 brick. So that would not be good. But he was like, you know, do the video, and if you trash it, I'll chip in. I just didn't want to do that. I'm really hoping that DJI, either they do a recall or they tell everybody, send your cameras in, we're going to repair them. And instead of repairing them, they send you the new batch where everything is fixed on it. I hope that's the case. And if that's the case, I will definitely get another Action 3, because I would like to have it, because the user interface was great. The build quality, it was solid, it was heavy, it was more robust feeling than what the original Osmo Action felt in my hand. The screens, like you saw, I don't know if you see in the video, but the screens, I made a comment a couple of times about how bright the screens are. Even the forward-facing screen, when you aimed it at you, it was twice as bright as what the GoPro Hero 11 was. So, all right, back to the chat. The only way to fix it, change the focal length and the optics, just means that you have to take it apart and then hook it up to a computer, put the lens back on, back and forth until the focus is set. Yes, you are 100% correct, Jeff. Then put it together the way to make it better. Tom A.K., they're embarrassed. I guess it's in regards to my comment about DJI and some of the videos. Or I don't know, maybe it's because my comment about being kicked out of SkyPixel. I mean, I don't know. You know, I was hoping to be... Every reviewer looks to be able to build a relationship. And if you look at, and I'll mention Gerald London again, he will bang on a camera. He will talk about its strong points, but then he will talk about the weaknesses or the errors that he found. But guess what Sony does? They keep sending him cameras. Why? Because he's extremely thorough and he's honest about it. When these bigger channels don't talk about the honest part, I mean, if you have a defective camera and it's not just one, and you know, I'll go back to the DJI forums, you know, and I'd said it's kind of turned into a circus show because, you know, you get some people, there's one guy that thinks he knows everything about everything audio, everything video, everything about codecs, everything about 10-bit. He's just an Einstein when it comes to everything electronic. And he bashes other people, and I don't like that. I mean, you know, we can have differing opinions, and that's fine, but it just seems like in this day and age right now, people like to be negative and like to pick on somebody else and like to talk trash, you know. But I guess that's the glory of the internet because, you know, I'm sure if it was face-to-face, maybe some people wouldn't talk so much trash. Anyway, I'm getting onto a tangent there. Let's see. They're embarrassed. Jeff Winters, message retracted. Hopefully you didn't say anything bad about me, Jeff. Let's see if DJ recalls the DJI for repair. I'm really hoping that they do that. I was hoping that GoPro was going to recall the 9 because there's so many people that would send their 9 in, they would get another camera. Same issue, audio popping. They send it in, and after like 3 or 4, they just gave up and said, I want my money back. And of course, GoPro's like, no, we've already did an exchange, so it's not the original camera anymore, so you can't get your money back. Just admit your fault. You know what? I respect the company. If DJI was to say, you know what, we screwed up, it is what it is. You know, we got it from a third party. It's out of calibration. Send your cameras back. We'll fix it, or not fix it, but we'll replace it with a new batch that's done. Okay, fine. You admitted your mistake. Let me go back and I'll buy another one that's actually working. Okay, let's see. Tom AK, if quality control was a problem, why didn't DJI delay the release and correct it, then re-release it? You know, that's really a good question, Tom, because I think quality control was a problem not on their end, but on the third-party manufacturer that supplied the lens assemblies. But it still kind of falls into DJI's lap because you would think that at least 1 out of 50 cameras, after it's been put together, take it out, turn it on, check the focus on it, right? Make sure that it's operating as the speakers are working, the user interface works, the touch screen, the rear and front touch screen work. You know, you would think that they would do that at least with 1 out of every 50, 1 out of every 100. I don't know how the DJI is such a big company. They go through so much merchandise. It could be 1 out of every 10,000. But you think that somebody would have done that and caught it and then said, whoa, slam on the brakes. We have an issue here. I don't know. I think maybe it was a little bit of competition to try to release their camera when GoPro was releasing the Hero 11 and to try to keep their name relevant. You know, hey, we are your competition, GoPro. We're going to be right there, and we're going to compete with you. I don't know. It could have been rushed to market, and I don't know. Tom AK, let's see. Yep, cold in Chicago, the Windy City. Action camera reviewer Tamara Gabriel said focus was sometimes soft. I believe I've seen her video. And if I'm not mistaken, Tom, if it's the young lady that tested it with stabilization on and off in different frame or different fields of view, I know that the wider the field of view, the less out of focus that it appeared. But once you pixel people a little bit, like I said, this one person likes to sit there and talk. Shame on you people for zooming in 200% or 300%. Of course, it's going to look bad. No. You zoom it in 200% or 300%, yes, you're going to start seeing some pixelation and the image quality start to degrade, but the focus should still be there. Excuse me. Let's see. So hopefully, if that's the young lady that you're talking about, Tom, yes, I did see her video, and she also commented in the DJI forums wanting the beta firmware, and I think somebody had told her how to get the beta firmware from DJI, because they've got to actually log into your phone account for your app, and then they send you the, what is it, APK file or whatever. But anyway, they update your Mimo app to get the beta file, and I didn't want to do that. I'm not a beta tester. You send me the camera for free to review, I'll be happy to be a beta tester. But you know, luckily I've got enough friends out there that actually got the beta version, and they were like, man, it didn't do anything for the focus. Drone PLA family, hello, welcome. Sorry, I said drone, it's dome. I don't understand why they didn't release fixed cover lens to fix. Instead of pay interest, people praise them. Should be a cheaper solution. You know, Dome PLA family, I had somebody, okay, there's a video online of another YouTuber that took a diopter and put it in front of the Action 3, and boom, everything was in focus. He even took his glasses, his prescription glasses, and put it in front of the lens of the Action 3, and guess what? Now everything's in focus. I mean, just think about that for a second. So I had somebody comment on one of my videos just saying, well, just put a close focus lens over the outside of it to fix the focus. And then there you go, stop complaining. Well, I'm supposed to go out and go buy another lens to go over it to fix a focus issue with something I already bought? I don't think so. Let's see. Jeff, from what I understood, only 2 out of 10 are in focus. You know, I saw one video on the DJI forums, and I can't remember the chap's name, but I looked at his video, and I went full screen on my 4K monitor and took a look at it, and it appears to be in focus. All these other big YouTubers, I mean, and I'm not going to mention any names, but when I say big YouTubers that review tech items and camera stuff and drones, you kind of know who I'm talking about. Take a look at those videos. Blow it up. If you have a 1080p monitor, that may be a little bit of an issue where you can't tell completely what the detail is, but it'll still give you a good idea when you're looking on your desktop. Because if you, oh, by the way, when I was looking at my focus videos on my cell phone, I couldn't tell that the Action 3 was out of focus compared to the Brave 8. And it, you know, the iPhone 13 Pro Max got a pretty good screen on it. Something about having a bigger monitor, and you can really see. And of course, just take a look and go full screen. There's a little square on the right-hand bottom side of the video player when you're watching a YouTube video, you're logged into YouTube. Click that and go full screen and really look at it. You'll see the face kind of smushed. When I mean smushed, it's like there's not a whole lot of detail. The colors are just kind of smushed. And then look at the background. You'll really start to see, and especially when these people, there's a, like I said, thumbs up to these smaller YouTube channels. Just call it out like it is. And it's just too bad because we don't have the audience to try to save a lot of potential buyers. I mean, would I recommend the Action 3? No. No. If they fix this issue and it's in focus and they don't mess with anything else in the camera, because it seems to be working really, really well. I mean, you know, at least as far as I'm concerned, the user interface and all that stuff and all the features. I mean, that, God, man, that lens is so super wide. It's just crazy, which is nice because that's good for some really establishing shots. But if they fix it, I'll buy it. And if it's fixed and I know it's a new batch and they've addressed it, I will definitely recommend the Action 3 once it's addressed and fixed. Let's see. Tom AK put some glasses up. I know, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? I mean, you know, I wear glasses. Well, I'm supposed to wear glasses. I don't wear them all the time. But It's crazy. You got to put glasses in front of a camera lens, and then all of a sudden it's in focus, and then people on the forums sit there and they complain about it. It's, you know, but then again, it's like whenever I put up a GoPro video, GoPro versus this, or GoPro versus the Action 3, or the GoPro versus the original Osmo Action. Whenever I put up side-by-side videos, there's always a camp. It's kind of like if you're talking about politics. You're destined to piss somebody off. I mean, it's either the right or the left is going to be pissed off. So you got the potential of 50% of your viewers being pissed off at you. Same goes for GoPro and whatever its competition is. You got GoPro fanboys that if your GoPro catches on fire and burns down your house, there's still people out there that are going to say GoPro is a great camera and your house sucks because it was made out of tinder. You can't please everybody. Let's see. Koba 2820. See, remember, I told you I wear glasses. Welcome aboard to the live stream. So would you recommend holding off on buying or maybe buy the Action 2? I'm coming from the Action 1. The videos that I've seen of the Action 2, not the early releases, the early release Action 2s seem to have a little bit of soft focus going on. My friend Ian Craig, so you can look him up on YouTube also. Ian Craig, audio, mic, something, but great guy. His Action 2 is a little bit soft too, but the Action 3 was much softer. I'm also coming from the Action 1, and the Action 1 doesn't have a great close focus. Once you get it, I mean, I'm 6'6", so I've got a really long wingspan. So if I hold a camera all the way out, I've got no issue with focus at all. And especially for me going off into infinity, and speaking of infinity, an infinity focus lens. I saw somebody comment, infinity's focus lenses cannot be focused. It's infinity. And there was a bunch of other expletives that were, you know what? An infinity focus lens has to first be focused. Once it's focused, then you've got infinity. Infinity focus means that from its minimum focus distance to infinity, as far as it can see, it will be in focus. That's what it means. It's just, you know, some people talk out of their keisters and they don't know what they're talking about. Let's see. Already talked about this channel. Someone mentioned the big YouTube channels are okay. Somebody mentioned that the big YouTube channels were paid. It's really funny because that was in a chat earlier today and then it disappeared. So I don't know if they deleted it or if YouTube just gets rid of it after a certain amount of time. These big YouTube channels, yes, they do get sponsorship money. They get a product. They get sponsorship deal. This is what we want you to talk about. But, you know, are you selling your soul? I don't think all the big YouTubers are getting sponsorship deals to where they're told not to say anything. I think that a lot of the channels are choosing not to say anything negative. And maybe the reason is because they want to keep that relationship going with that company. Because, you know, SJ Cam was a big supporter of this channel early on. They sent me a lot of cameras to review. And they were doing really, really good. And then it was the SJ SJ10 Pro. Wasn't really up to snuff. And then they sent me this C200, and that thing was abysmal. The image quality was good if you're just going to put it down on a desk and use it for that. But if you're going to walk around with it, it was abysmal. And they went radio silent. Never heard from them again. I had contacted, hey, I'd like to look at the dual screen version, and that was it. I'm sorry. You know, I'm not going to beg you to send me a camera. I review something, and it's nice that some people, they'll actually go out and go buy the product anyway, and then they come back and go, man, you were right. I've got this issue with it. Or, man, I wish I'd seen your video. about the focus issue with the Action 3, because now I got it and now I see exactly what you're talking about, because I've got the same issue with my camera. And should I keep it or should I send it back? And I can't tell anybody what to buy, and I won't ever tell anybody what to buy. If I tell you the Sony ZV-1 is a great camera, and it's got all these things going for it. It's got a built-in ND filter. It's got this. And if you look at the outside ring right there, that ring is on there for a reason. Because the lens is not wide enough. They build this as a vlogging lens, and it's like a 24 or 25 millimeter full frame equivalent. A little tight on the face. That's why I've got this ring on there for the Lanzi wide angle lens to put onto it. But I'll tell you all the stuff about this, but I won't tell you, get out there and go buy it right now. No. I mean, it's up to you. I get people all the time that make comments on these action cameras videos that I've done saying, hey, I'm looking at this one, I'm looking at this one. Which one should I buy? Wow. And as much as I appreciate that somebody would come to me to ask my opinion about buying something, I also don't want to disappoint you. So I always tell somebody, go back and watch my videos. Which one did you like the best? And choose from there. You know, some people, they need 4K. Some people don't. 1080p is still alive and well. This live stream is in 1080p. It is what it is. I could use my, what is this bad boy called? The Pengo 4K capture card. And I could do a 4K video. I chose not to with the live stream. Canon M50 is just fine enough for the live stream stuff. But I'm never going to tell somebody what to buy. Let's see who else we got in here. Andrea Stuk. They're trying to fix the problem with digital sharpening. Buying a lens to bring it in focus will not solve the problem unless you can adjust the lens and switch off the sharpening. Well, hey Andreas, you must be from Germany. Guten Tag, wie geht es dir? Yes, you are correct. Digital sharpening, I really don't like it. And if you saw the video that I did with Alan, when he did the digital sharpening, it on the statue video, it did make the statue appear to be a little bit more in focus because he sharpened it, but I also showed you that background. That digital sharpening just, to me, looks terrible. Absolutely terrible. I mean, unless I'm doing a video to where I'm using a 1.4 or 1.2 aperture lens and I want to be the main subject and have great bokeh behind me, have it all blurred out, then I don't mind some sharpening, but I'll always do in-camera sharpening. I don't like doing post-sharpening. That's just me. Let's see. Guten Tag. So you are from Germany. Actually, so am I. I was born in Neuss. I don't know if you know where that's at. It's about 5 kilometers from Dusseldorf am Rhein. Sunrise Water Media. Mr. Chris, how are you doing, sir? Andre, I wish I could stay just popping in and say hi-bye. Well, damn, man. It's a little drive-by. Oh, I see your little car. Yeah, I get it. A little drive-by. Hey, Chris, thanks for popping in and thanks for popping out. Maybe you can come back and watch this a little bit later on. Let's see. Tom A.K. Clear audio stabilization 1080p waterproof action camera. Good audio is very important. I don't know why cameras, the Thei, they made the T5e. That was a native 4K action camera. Had the Umbrella chip, which is a very good chipset. It's funny because the body of it looked like somebody made it in one of those 3D printers. But it was great video quality. And guess what? They had an audio jack. It wasn't a 3.5 millimeter. It was actually a 2.5 millimeter. But you could stick it in and put an adapter that goes from 2.5 to 3.5 and stick that in, and it would work. I don't know why action camera companies, I'm looking around to see if I got one laying with it. I don't know why action camera companies, if they can do a waterproof seal on the door for the SD card or for the USB-C port to charge it. And if they can do a waterproof door, why can't they just pop the door open and have a 3.5 millimeter jack? That would solve so many issues. I just don't know why people just don't do that. I mean, you know, somebody had made a comment in one of my videos. It was the video called The Evolution of Action Cameras, talking about how it all started and the big players back then that were really trying to compete with GoPro, and they were only like $40 to $60. And somebody commented about that they had taken an SJ Cam 4000 and drilled out a hole and put in a 3.5 millimeter jack. And that's exactly what I did to one of mine years ago. Pretty simple little hack, although you don't have a whole lot of room to work with inside there. Let's see here. Sunrise. This is Chris. I'm driving through. I'll catch the replay. Hey, Chris, thanks a lot for popping by. I do appreciate you, guy. Chris is a really cool cat. I mean, he does his own music. So when you watch his videos, all the music that you hear is music that he's created. He doesn't use my affiliate links. If you look down, when this is all done, I use Artlist. And Artlist is a sponsor of my main channel. I was using them before they became a sponsor. And I just think the music's great. But Chris, he's funny. He's got the type of humor that I appreciate, which is a kind of a dryish humor. And I get the dry humor part because, you know, my wife says that I've got really, really, really dry humor. And I'm okay with that. I appreciate that. Jeff Winters, I like the DB Powder native 4K for $20. You know, hang on one second here. Let me see. Hang on one second, Jeff. Talking about this one? DB Power. Let me get my chat window. God, that disappeared. Don't know why. I swear I'm going to try StreamYard. I've got to try StreamYard. Yep. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's got a metal build on the outside edge, and it may be metal up front. I don't know. I don't have a magnet around, or do I? Yeah, this is a live stream, so let's kind of sit back and BS, and it is what it is. I think I may have a magnet. I do. Okay, now this is going to make a liar out of me. Now, I thought this was a metal build on the outside. We'll see here, Jeff. I got some little neodymium magnets here. Nope, it's not sticking to it. Make sure it's sticking to this. Oh, there we go. That's... Nope. It's not sticking to this. But it feels like metal on the outside build of the camera. This little DB Power right there. 4K action camera. There was a closeout. DB Power... And DB Power actually made some really cool cameras. Excuse me. My allergies are really, really bad now because Mountain Cedar is about to kick in a higher gear here in Texas. Well, Jeff, I saw you. It could be meat. Aluminum. Ah, see, Tom, you're thinking outside the box. That's why you're smart, Tom, and I'm not. It could be aluminum. It does feel metal. But this little guy, $20. 4K. Let's see if this thing will even boot up. So there's no card. But, let's see if we can get that to focus. I can't remember if this was touchscreen. Yep, touchscreen too. Touchscreen, 4K action camera. Stabilization was not the best in the world. The video quality was pretty darn good. And $20. I put up my, and I'm not bragging about this, but I wanted to let people know, hey, They're doing a closeout of this. Get this while you can. These are $20. I'll put up the Amazon affiliate link to these, and I can't remember how many hundreds of these sold, but they sold out, and that was just my affiliate link. I want to say it sold out in a day and a half, 2 days. They were gone. And I actually reached out to the seller to ask, hey, you got any more of these? Because, because I bought up 2 of them. I was like, $20, come on, I'm going to give it a try. And definitely well worth it. I still have it. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. I did that little giveaway thing on the main channel, and so I gave away an SJ10 Pro. I gave away, what all was it? The Surfola 4K action camera. I gave away the Wii lights, the LED lights, and the Sonic Cake. So now, Sonic Cake, a lot of people may not know, but Sonic Cake is really big into guitar pedals. I even have a Sonic Cake guitar pedals. I may actually just do a review on one of those, or on a drum set that my daughter wanted to get. So we got her an electronic drum set, and my first drum set was I'm trying to remember if it was either a Slingerland or the Ludwig. I want to say the Slingerland was my first drum set. My second one was the Ludwig. And my first instrument I ever played was piano. My dad was a musician, and he forced piano down my throat. And after my dad him being a musician, he was a virtuoso. This guy, he was fantastic. But he had very high expectations. And so it was 4 or 5 hours a day on the piano. And I finally got totally sick of it. And my mother had intervened and said, I don't think he likes it anymore. So I went from piano to drums, the most violent instrument possible. And then I went to guitar. And it's really funny because now I've got a baby grand in the house. Fell back in love with piano after all these years. And now my daughter's learning how to play piano. And she's playing flute in school, which has absolutely nothing to do with the DJI Action 3. But that's why I like these live streams, especially on this channel. It's just kind of kick back. So I already talked about the GoPro Hero 9. None of the big channels talked about the audio popping issue. Obviously, we've talked about the Action 3, and all these big channels are not talking about the focus issue. I did see one channel, Peter Lindgren, where people were commenting that even his video was a little bit out of focus. I didn't want to comment on it because I was like, all right, I already commented on 2 bigger YouTube channels, and they deleted and blocked me just for asking a question. So Peter Lindgren seems like a cool cat, and he was just like, not with his unit. So there may be a couple of units out there that are spot on. Could be by luck. It could be whoever focused that lens at the third-party company did a great job with it. Could be. The Akaso V50X, not to, I'm going to toot my horn a little bit. I didn't see any other channel out there talk about the audio and video that went out of sync with the V50X from Akaso. Great camera, really nice stabilization, especially for $99. A couple of weeks ago during Amazon days, it was $69. Can't go wrong. But after about 2-3 minutes, the audio and video in 4K would just start to drift apart. And it's really strange because I looked at the frame rate, and the frame rate did not change. It did not stop or did not start dropping frames. The audio for some reason would just start wandering out, and I could fix it in post, and it would start wandering right back out again. So I don't know what the deal was. Let's see, Jeff Winters. If you use a gimbal, yes, you can use a gimbal with the, I don't even know what I just did with that camera. With the DB Power, absolutely, use a gimbal. Hohem makes some really good, inexpensive gimbals. I've done some reviews on their iSteady Pro, the iSteady Pro, the iSteady Pro 2. I think they've come out with like the iSteady Pro 4 now. But Hohem doesn't send me gimbals anymore because I talked bad about one gimbal that needed some firmware tweaks, and that's all I mentioned, that it needed some firmware tweaks, and guess what? Now I don't get products anymore from them. But that's okay, because I'd rather be honest. Not that I'm your dad, or not that I'm your uncle, or not that I'm a relative or anything like that, but if somebody looks at my channel and asks advice about something, I want to be able to be honest with you and tell you, yes, this is something that's definitely worth your money. Somebody had asked me about the GoPro Hero 9. Should they buy it? And I said, it's got the audio popping issues, right? You're really better off with the 10. But if you can afford it, and I should have probably used a little bit different verbiage, because afford, I don't ever want to offend somebody and say that they can't afford something. I should have put it more like, if it's within your budget, get the 11 if you need the added features. If you don't need the added features, get the GoPro Hero 10. The GoPro Hero 10, solid performer. My GoPro Hero 9 got the audio issues. The GoPro Hero 8, no problem. Knock on wood. That one still works fine, and I still use it. It's actually on the table behind me here. Let's see. I am dumb. Tom, you are not dumb. You are not dumb. I was kind of hoping that you would have won something on the giveaway, because, I mean, you're always... This is something I appreciate, and the same goes for Chris from Sunrise Water Media. I appreciate the regulars, and I call you regulars because it's like when you have friends that come over and they come and visit, or you're, you know what, I'm doing a barbecue, come on over, and you got friends that come over. You guys come over and you comment on my videos, and gosh, you know, I really do appreciate it, because you could watch somebody else's videos. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I know that. I've had somebody say that I was an obnoxious, I guess I can say the word here on this channel, because this one is not monetized. My other channels are. But that I was an obnoxious, was it obnoxious prick? An obnoxious, self-serving prick or something like that. And I'm like, wow. I asked my wife, I said, you know, is that me? And she goes, no, you're an asshole, but you're not an obnoxious prick. But can I be a little bit of a butt? Yes. You know, it is what it is. I mean, I don't put up with stuff from other people. I just don't. I speak my mind. And I don't know if it's just a product of me becoming older, or if it's a product of, I mean, I boxed for 15 years. Nothing professional. I even did some bare knuckle boxing before bare knuckles was actually a thing. And I just enjoyed fighting. You know, considering that I'm 6'6", there was a lot of people that would want to come climb the tree. And it's not that I go looking for trouble, but they want to come climb the tree. So I had to defend myself. So, you know, they want to come climb this tree, and come climb the tree, you know, just be careful, because the tree strikes back. Andreas, let's see, I don't think they would roll out a firmware update if only some were out of focus. Okay, so this is my comment that I made. And this is for Andreas, and it's for anybody else that's watching on this stream, or even on the future stream. So DJI, they said some of the Action 3s are affected by some internal parameters that are too great. Only some. But they come out with a action camera. I'm sorry. Total train of thought there went away. They come out with a firmware that's supposed to fix this focus issue, but they don't release it and say that, okay, only these serial numbers are going to get the firmware. No, they do a blanket firmware release. So imagine, hypothetically, you have an Action 3. Yes, it's not an Action 3, but work with me here. So you've got a DJI Action 3, and it doesn't have any problems. So you send out a firmware that's going to, let's say, affect the sensor and the sensor readout on how it sees an image. Okay? But you're going to do that for the cameras that are affected with a focus problem. You send out that firmware to a good working camera. Now you've just knocked it out of calibration. You see where I go with that? So a blanket firmware fix is not to fix some cameras. It's to fix all the cameras. So, I seen one video where somebody tried to say, oh, here's video from my Action 3. And if you've ever had a GoPro, you know what that little GoPro lens flare looks like, that little oval sunspot that'll come up on the screen. And that was definitely a GoPro that was used. That was not the Action 3. Plus, the field of view was completely different. But anyway, back to comments here. Anyway, Andreas, I think that you're correct. They can't fix that via firmware. Tom, but I have bad luck. GoPro Hero 11. Is it worth it? Tom, I got to tell you, I have put this GoPro Hero 11 through the ringer, and it works flawlessly. I have not had it freeze on me once. I have not had it overheat on me. I've had other people that, well, not other people. I've seen other videos where they talk about overheating issues. If you're moving the camera and they're getting some airflow across it, there's enough of a heat sink to take care of that as long as there's some movement with the camera. If you're going to sit it stationary, it's going to get hot. But that's like any 4K camera. It's like if I shot with the Sony a7S III or the Sony a7 IV, and I point back here because they're behind me on the table, or the Sony ZV-E10, and I shoot this in 4K for any length of time, they're going to get hot. The Sony cameras have a feature where you can choose either standard heat temp or high heat temp before the camera goes into a protection mode to save itself. But for me, Tom, the GoPro Hero 11 and the GoPro Hero 10, the GoPro Hero 10 and 11, in my opinion, have the best audio that GoPro has ever produced yet. Inbuilt audio. But I would also recommend for those of you that are thinking about getting a GoPro, get the Wind Slayer. This thing is a couple of bucks. I don't know if I can get that to shine there with the camera. With the light. But this little foam, this Wind Slayer helps out so much. That way you don't have to go out and go buy the media mod or, I know I've got it here somewhere. So here is a small rig GoPro Hero 9, 10, or 11 cage that I had reviewed not that long ago. And of course I've got the GoPro Hero audio brick that we were all forced into buying back when the 5 came out. And it still works with the GoPro Hero 9, 10, or 11. If you can get this, an external microphone, it's going to be better than the built-in microphone. But if you don't want to go the external microphone route and have this whole cage set up and all that, get the Wind Slayer and you're good to go, Tom. The GoPro Hero 11, solid performer. Trust me, I would throw GoPro under the bus. Because when I first got the Hero 5, I took it into the pool. And I took it underwater. I didn't go diving. My pool was 10 foot deep. I was in a shallow end and I was just kind of swimming, and I had it maybe 1.5 feet or 2 feet under the surface of the water, and just getting some shots going to one end of the pool and coming back. And water got into the camera. So I reached out to GoPro and they told me that it was user error, that I didn't close the doors correctly. Okay, I'm not, I'm a lot of things, but I'm not stupid when it comes to taking something that's supposed to be waterproof and making damn sure that everything is not closed on it before I take it into the pool. Luckily, Best Buy manager over there was like, no problem, let me give you another one. And I've never taken one into the pool unless I have a waterproof case. Let's see. You're coming over to the barbecue, Andre. You have cousins in Texas. Well, cool. You should come visit your cousins. And if you do visit your cousins in Texas, Tom, you should hit me up, send me an email. You've got both of my emails, I think. Just send me an email and just say, hey, man, I'm going to be in town. And if you're in North Texas. Now, if you're down in like Houston, that's 4.5, 5 hours away. I don't know if I'm going. Although I am going down to Galveston. We are going on a cruise, my first ever cruise. So for our anniversary this year, which was just on the 14th of this month, we got each other a cruise. So we're going to take the family on a nice little cruise. See, Tom, thank you, Andre. If you're saying thank you regarding the GoPro Hero 11, yes, it is definitely worth it. I would probably go the route. I don't know why spend more money, but it'll save you money if you buy the little subscription. I didn't. I bought the GoPro Hero 11 on launch date at Best Buy, full price. I could have saved, what was it, 50 or $100, but I didn't. Let's see. Brian. Hello, Brian. How are you? Yep, you talk about the iSteady 4. Nice feature, the iSteady 4 offers USB charging of your action cameras so you can fill up 128 gig before you run out of battery. This is very true. Brian, you can definitely, that's the nice thing about the iSteady Pro, and it's not just on the 4, it's on the original iSteady, the original iSteady Pro, the Pro 2. You've got that little, so you can use the internal battery to charge up the action cameras, and that's something else that I really enjoy about these action cameras is that you can add external power and just keep on going. Let's see. Oh, 7:13. Geez Louise. It's been an hour and 13 minutes since I've had you people on here. Do you have any questions? If you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I tell you what, I have a question for you. Does it bother you that the big YouTube channels did not talk about the focus issue of the Action 3? They just made it seem like it was all roses and sunshine and rainbows. Does that bother you? Put it in the chat section. I'm really kind of curious. It bothers me. If I was looking at an Action 3 and I look at these reviews and I go, wow, it looks really good. Wow, they're going to bring 10-bit. You know, here's another thing, 10-bit. Let's talk about that while you guys are thinking about a question. So I had somebody ask, how do you know that it's really 10-bit? So I did that 10-bit video to show you the program that you can use to actually view the information that's on that video file. So I showed, yes, it is a 10-bit. But is it 10-bit 422 or 10-bit 420? That's the chroma sampling. So it's 10-bit video. Yes, it is. And it's 420. It's not as good as 422. It's not as good as 444. Kind of follow what I'm saying? But it's an action camera that's got 10-bit. And there's some people that will say, 10-bit. You can't do nothing with 10-bit 422 or 420. Wrong. That is not true. You can do a lot with 420. You just can't do as much as you can with 422 10-bit. Okay, so let's see if we've got some questions here. Jeff Winters, micro SD card is V30 fast enough, or should I get the V60 or V90? Is this in regards to the GoPro camera, Jeff? That's going to be real important. If it's for the GoPro V30, no problem. If you're talking about like the A7 IV or A7S3, you definitely need a V90. Either that or you're going to have to get their little Sony, their CF Express, what is that? CF Express Class A, I think it is. I just didn't want to go that route, so I went with V90, so I can still record up to 300 megabits per second on the A7 IV or the A7S3, so that worked out really well. But for 4K, I'm looking around here. Let's see if I got any of these bad boys. You'd be surprised at what's on my desk. I feel like a magician sometimes. I can pull a rabbit. Okay, SD card? Well, I've got one right there. Pow, SD card. Let's see if I can get my face out of there. But this one here, I know a lot of people are going to complain about this, but I use SanDisk. End of story. I use SanDisk, or for V90 cards, I use the Sony Tough cards, especially if I'm shooting like a documentary or if I'm shooting a short film. I'm using the Sony Tough cards because, I don't, I want to make sure I'm getting a good, reliable card. For these action cameras, I have never had a SanDisk ever fail on me, period. So you say yes. So it's for the GoPro. There's a little bit of a lag, by the way, between what I say and by the time that you guys get it and you respond on the chat and I see it. So I apologize about the little latency there. Oh, my voice seems like it's going out. I said my allergies are kicking my butt. Brian Dolson, it almost bothers me as much as DJI not covering hardware failures under warranty. I agree with you 1,000%. 1,000%. I bought a media mod a while back, and it didn't work with I want to say it was the 9. And so I reached out to GoPro, and it was pound sand. I just don't get it how these big companies can treat somebody like this. DJI, they're very good about responding. You put in a ticket, they'll respond. But it's always the same blanket response. And I saw somebody else, I got a copyright thing today that said somebody had used a portion of one of my videos. So I went to go kind of check it out. Are they just pirating my stuff, or will they use it in the context of explaining a video? So they use it in the context of explaining a problem. And I commented to DJI because DJI commented on that video. So I commented and I tagged them and I said, is it a lens hardware issue? And they come right back with the same response. Thank you for bringing your concern. We apologize for any inconvenience. Please contact support. They just won't admit it, and that bothers me. But it really bothers me that the big YouTubers, they just don't want to. And for me, $329 is a lot of money. For a lot of people, $329 is still a lot of money. If it was a $60 camera, a lot of people aren't going to really worry about if it's really good or not. But for $329 or $499 or $2,900 or $3,500, you want a really honest review before you get into it. And Alan and I, we had spoken I think it was yesterday, we were texting each other back and forth, and he was just like, man, he goes, I just don't see any of these big YouTubers talking about this problem with the Action 3, even though he can see for himself in their own videos that it's out of focus. And I said, well, it's the smaller YouTubers that will call it out, and that's probably why I'll never grow. I mean, yeah, I've got 34,000 subscribers, and I appreciate all the subscribers that I've got on the Worth It or Not main channel. But unless I turn into a paid shill where I just say everything is just roses and sunshine and just buy products, then I'll feel like a salesman. And I don't want to feel like a salesman. I started this channel to let you know if something is worth it or not for an honest opinion. You may not agree with my opinion, and that's okay because I'm not an expert in this field. Have I reviewed a couple hundred action cameras over the years? Yes, some really good ones and some really, really bad ones. But I always tell you like it is, at least from my point of view. And if you still want to buy a product that I say strictly avoid, and you like it, I'm okay with that. I don't take that personally. Because like I said, I'm not the know-it-all, Now, unless it's Gerald Undone, that guy knows everything. And if he doesn't know it, he's going to find out about it and tell you about it. Let's see. DJI company lost a lot of trust with their loyal customers. They lost some with me, but I also understand from the aspect of a large company. Imagine you're a big international company that you've got the market cornered when it comes to action. I mean, market corner when it comes to drones. So you are the leader. You don't want to come out with a product and have to admit some kind of fault. Now, if you look at what happened, like with GoPro, they came out with the Karma drone, and the fiasco that cost them. And even though I did a video on this channel, I think it was the last video, talking about some of the things that I think GoPro may come out with, and they actually got a patent for a new drone. I don't know how many people are actually going to bite and get another drone from GoPro. I mean, who wants another, what was it called? The Karma drone. That was kind of like bad karma because it just fell out of the sky. But if I was a big company, if I was DJI and I was in charge of their marketing and in charge of their public relations, I would, or even in their legal department, I would tell everybody, let the engineers try to fix it. Tell people, send it back to us. We're going to take a look at it, see what's wrong. We're going to repair it if we can. If not, we'll just replace it, and we'll replace it. Shut up about it. I hope that they do that, and I'm okay if they don't admit to what the problem is. And part of me wishes that I'd taken my buddy up on the deal of taking the Action 3 apart just to look inside and see, can I get that thing to focus? Because if it just takes a quarter turn one way or the other, wow, that would prove my point 1,000%. But then DJI would probably sue me into oblivion for taking their camera apart and showing a fault. I don't know. So it's been an hour and 23 minutes. So let's see, there was not some talk not long ago of Sony getting into drones. You know, that's still, Brian, there is still talk about Sony getting into drones because Sony's, can you imagine, Sony camera on its own drone? I wouldn't be surprised if it's not going to be like a consumer drone. I think it's going to be something, a commercial grade drone for videography. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting, but it bothered me to a point I wanted to do this live stream. Why are the big YouTubers not talking about the Action 3? Is it because they are just keeping that commitment and that relationship with DJI and they don't want to talk anything negative because they want to be able to get some really cool high-end products. Hey, I want to get another $3,000 drone, whatever the case may be. Air photography, another big channel who's really blown up over the last year and a half. His name is Sean. He calls out stuff as he sees it, and I appreciate that. And he doesn't take items from companies. I do because I'm not a self-made millionaire yet. But he doesn't take products. He buys these products. I mean, I'm sure he makes enough money off his YouTube channel, but he buys these products and tells you just like it is. And I respect that. I respect somebody that tells you the pros and the cons to something. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I know pizza got delivered to the house here about close to an hour ago. But that's what microwaves are for. I would like to thank everybody for joining in on this live stream. I look forward to another kind of sit back, and I may actually do this as a weekly thing. I may do a poll. That's what I'm going to do. In the community post, I'm going to put a poll. What day of the week is best for you? Is Sundays good? Saturdays good? Considering winter's coming up, so all the summer sports with family and all that is going to be kind of winding down. A lot of more people are going to be home again. So I'll put up a poll on when a good live stream is. And I'm going to change up. I'm going to stop using OBS. I'm probably going to check out StreamYard just so I can have multiple guests on. And then maybe some of you. I may invite some of the viewers to get on there and we'll just BS for the evening and talk about experiences and go from there. Any day, just make it what you want. See, Jeff, I like that. I have to make it what's convenient to me, though. And I want to make it convenient for you guys. So, on that note, I am going to wrap up this stream and say thank you again for joining in. It means a lot to me. I do appreciate it. We'll talk more about action cameras. And if the Action 3 gets fixed and re-released with a new batch, look forward to a video because I hope it actually works out really good. Pizza, Yum Sunday, Zoom meeting. Thanks, Andre. Very good. Thank you very much, Tom, Jeff, Brian, Andreas, Dome PLA family. I'm just trying to look at everybody in the chat here. I think that was it. Anyway, thank you all for joining in. I do appreciate it. Oh, Chris, I got to mention Chris from Sunwater Media. What's it? I always mess up his channel. Sunrise Water Media. I don't know why I always say Sunwater. Sunrise Water Media. Anyway, have yourselves a good evening. Hope your next week is nice and smooth and easy. And I will catch you guys later. Bye-bye.